This week's project came about by a major mistake. As you can see, I installed this USB port in place of the 24 volt where the lighter used to be. And everything was wired to the house batteries. Everything was wired to the house batteries. And that's where I made my mistake. Having one source of electricity or something to power everything up. When I installed my batteries and wired them, the gentleman wired them right, but I installed everything wrong and completely drained my batteries and had to pull everything out, charge them all up, and in that process of them being in the shop overnight, I had absolutely no way of charging up nothing. Cell phone, tablets, nothing. Because everything is attached to the house batteries. So I'm like, something needs to be done about that. So in this week's project, I'm pulling it out and I'm rerouting it to the van battery. Well, let's get started, shall we? First, I had to unscrew these screws here on the top hat to get inside the dashboard, which made it a lot easier 20 minutes later. I'm like, where do this go? Let's unscrew these screws and see what it'll do, because I was going through the hole. So once I took the screws off and saw it was easy to access, I have a belt that allows me to, I guess, attach everything to and feed it through. That was like my main tool throughout this whole particular procedure, because without that belt or some sort of rod, I'd have no way of feeding the wires through. So after I unscrewed everything, took the belt, had to feel my way through and fish it through the other side, that's when the real work began. Once I fished all the wires through and figured out which wire went to what, because they both looked the same except one wire already had an inline fuse on it, that made the difference. So I pulled the rug back to find a grommet or something to feed it through the engine. Wasn't there. I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? So I pulled off the side panel and there was a grommet for the speaker wire. So first I tried to take the drill and drill some holes to feed wires through, and that wasn't happening. That just was not working in my favor. So I just went ahead and punched it out, just took the whole entire thing out so I could feed the wire through. And once again, saving grace is that belt. So taking some electrical tape and winding the whole wire through the belt itself, that stiffened it up and allowed me to feed the wires through the side panel of the front part of the van. And you'll see once the wires come through and everything, I had to stick my hand down in there. I was a little nervous because, I didn't want to get shocked or anything, and made me nervous there for a second. Once I worked up enough nerve to reach down on the side to retrieve the belt to pull the wires through, I don't know why I was tripping. I do sometimes. I really don't know why. Anyway, pulling the belt through and fishing everything out was a breeze. And I'm glad I did that while I was in the presence of my mechanic. I went to his house because, yes, once again, my batteries was draining and I didn't know why. That's a whole nother video. But once I was there and I pulled everything through, I didn't have butt connectors, so Arnold gave me some butt connectors to go ahead and connect everything up. And him, being him, he saw that I was, I guess, not crimping the wires tight enough. And he didn't say anything. He just gave me that look and he's like, give me that. I handed it to him. He went ahead and put the butt connectors on there, and I went ahead and disconnected the negative and positive cables and put them on. Easy peasy. And he's like, why are you jumping? And I told him, I hate that spark. And he said, if you put this one on first, it won't spark. So I did. He was right. Now that the battery has the cables back on, all the cables is configured right and tucked away, let's go inside and see what we got going on here. Put everything back together as far as the dashboard and check connectivity. And while I'm doing that to test it, I thought I'd break out my Garmin, plug that in, see what it'll do. We have power. Everything is looking good. So now it's time to just button everything up and screw the side panel back on and call it a day. Thanks for watching this week's video. I really appreciate your time. You have yourself a wonderful day. Bye-bye.